It's been a day or two since I've started using Taskboard as my main project manager / tracker, and there are already a few bugs that I want to address and features I would like to add. But before I do that, let me show you my current setup. I have two items in my main board here. One is for tracking my YouTube videos, and the other is for tracking my projects. Inside my YouTube video item, I have another item to keep track of my first devlog, and two more items to keep track of my outro and intro video that I'm currently working on. If you go inside my devlog 1, you'll notice that I've updated the columns from the default ones to backlog, editing, ready, and posted. Which isn't anything crazy, but the ability to change the columns has been a huge plus in my opinion. If we go back to the main board and go into my projects item, I have an item to keep track of my task board, which is what I'm currently using. In here, again, you can see that I've updated the columns to bugs and features from the default one, and this is where I've been keeping track of all the bugs that I found and features that I would like to eventually add. My goal today is to address all the bugs, as some of them have started to impede my workflow. So let me go ahead and open the project up in debug mode and let's start looking at them one by one. I have both the packaged version of the application running and also the debug mode. Notice that they're both pointing to the same database, that's why the values here are the same. The first bug that I'll be resolving today is when you hit the back button from the main screen, the screen goes blank, as you'll see here. This is because the main item is the first item that's ever created, and it has no parent item to go back to. So all I have to do to fix this issue, for the back button right here, I just check to make sure that the parent item exists. If the parent item is not equal to null, then go ahead and go back. But if it is equal to null, it should do nothing. As you can see, there's nothing after the if statement. I've also gone ahead and updated the icon depending on if the parent item is equal to null or not. What this does is it gives us a nice home icon when you're on the main screen. Whereas if I'm in an item, you can see that it gives me the back arrow. So I can click on this, and then if I click on this home icon, nothing happens. Let's move on to the next bug, which is that the preview column color is not correct. So right here, if I look at this in progress bar and I click edit, you can see that the color is blue, and the card color is also blue. But if I go back, you can see that the task board in the third column here, it's showing that the color is purple. In other words, the preview colors aren't correctly displaying. I see the mistake that I'm making here. I'm just going ahead and picking a color from the colors array and setting that to the color of the column. But what I should be doing is I should be setting the column to the color that the user specified. So let me go ahead and resolve this and I'll be back. And there you go. You can see that the colors are appropriately showing now. Looking back at this, I want to go ahead and change some of these colors. I want bugs to be red. I want features to be blue. I want tasks in progress to be yellow. And I want done tasks to be green. So let's go back and see if this is what it's showing in the preview. Perfect. Let's look at the next bug. You can see that it says UI not reloading when I search and then clear the search. When I search a text such as hello, you can see that nothing appears on the screen. This is because no item contains the string hello in it. And that's fine. That's working as it should. But when I go ahead and remove hello, nothing is still appearing on the screen. But everything should appear again because now there's no searching going on. Let me go ahead and see why this is happening, and I'll be right back. I see what the issue here is. I only notify the UI to update if my search string is greater than 2. What that means is when I search a term like hello and I just put in H and E, nothing updates in the UI yet. But as soon as I add the third character, you can see that it finds no HEL within any of the items. Therefore, it shows nothing. And this was intentional. I did want to only start searching after a few characters were added. But now the issue is, when I hit the backspace on L, it doesn't update the UI because the characters are still less than or equal to 2. So to resolve this issue, I'm just going to go ahead and remove that limitation and start searching as soon as the character is added to the search bar. It should be as simple as just going ahead and removing this conditional right here, which checks to see the length is greater than 2, and then reloading the project. Now, if I go into my projects and go back into my taskboard project, if I search for HE, you can see it's instantly starting to filter out. I can search for LLO and there's nothing there. But when I hit the backspace, and as soon as it recognizes something, it'll go ahead and start showing me that item. And you can see a lot of these items have an H in them, so that's why it's showing me that. Now that this is resolved, we can go ahead and move it into done. Let's go on to the next item. Long names extend the edit dialog box. The best way to show this is by just simply clicking on an item with a long name. You can see that I am displaying the text of the item in the top bar right here, and it goes way above and out of the screen. To solve this issue, I'm simply going to go ahead and constrain the length of text widget with an expanded widget, and then set the overflow value to clip. However, you can see that the text is continuing to move forward to the next line. I don't want to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a text overflow type of ellipsis. This will fill the top bar with as much text as possible and then just add dots representing that it continues. And you can see that right here. And there you go. That resolves that problem. Let me move that to done. Finally, we have our last item here, which is load animation for new task board is weird. And what I mean by this is when I click the back button here, notice how the tasks on this board will change and represent the one in the previous board or the parent board before the animation completes. I'll try to slow it down so it's more clear, but I know this issue isn't impacting any functionality, but it's something that I observe every day and I'd rather be resolved than me be constantly reminded of it. So let me go ahead and resolve this issue and I'll be back. I was able to resolve the issue, but not the way that I think I was expecting. At first I thought that I wouldn't really want to resolve it this way, but now that I've done it, I'm actually really liking it. And this might just be me consoling myself, but what I've done here is I've just gone ahead and removed the animation overall. So now the board instantly updates. Like, look at how quick this is. I don't know, it just feels much better to me for some reason. I personally am a big fan of this because you can just so quickly go ahead and go into items, move them around, do what you need to, and be done, rather than waiting for a 250 millisecond animation to complete each time. I just got back from a walk. It's really cold here in PA, but it feels good. Now that I feel fresh, I'm going to go ahead and start looking into adding some new features. Let me go through this list and see what I want to prioritize, and then I'll be back. But first, let me go ahead and move this final bug into the done column. While I was prioritizing my tasks, I found a bug. For instance, if I click on this task right here and I give it a value, let's say like 4, and I save it, and if I want to go ahead and reset this value back to null, I have this refresh button right here. So if I click that and I hit save, and you can see that it doesn't reset the priority to 0 or null, because if it was null, it wouldn't appear here. And I think I know why this is happening. If I go into my edit card, you can see that I have a check here. If the selected priority is not equal to null, only then does it set the value. Let me just go ahead and if it is equal to null, which will be the else case, I will go ahead and set it equal to null, like so. And I think that should solve the issues. Let me go to refresh here real fast. Let's click on this, set refresh the priority, and save. And there you go. We can't see the priority anymore. Let me also make sure that date works in the same way. So if I just go ahead and click this, yeah, I see that doesn't work either. So let me go ahead and fix that too. I think I'm going to go ahead and dim the background a bit while I have the edit box open. I think this is important because it's getting hard for me to differentiate between the background and the foreground, or where the dialog box is. So let me go ahead and add that task and then we can work on it. There you go. I've gone ahead and added a black color to the background with an opacity of 0.4. Now when I click on an item, you can see that the background is dimmed. And I think this works perfectly. This should work for both items and columns too. Awesome.